All right, we are officially approaching day 30 of the government shutdown, and I'm here in Washington, D.C., talking about what am I seeing, who am I meeting with, and what am I hearing down here on the ground. Now, this is not a political show, so again, we're not here to talk about SNAP benefits or payments to the Social Security program or anything like that. We are strictly here to talk about government contracts and how you can win government contracts. So that's what makes us unique. I know because I've gotten some really smart people complaining about what is happening and how they're being affected or impacted by it. But as it relates to what we do discuss here is specifically on the topic of procurement. So we're going to discuss procurement things because that's what affects us, and that's where we're going to start today conversation. So far, we're in shutdown day number 30. $12 billion has been lost. $12 billion has been gone. There's been officially no back pay as you know it. The good thing about me having this channel is that I've been around and making content long enough to have seen the actual longest shutdown in history. So the good thing is that I was here in 2018 when we had the longest shutdown that's ever been recorded in history, 35 days, and there was $11 billion lost. And so today, what I want to discuss is what did I see during those times? What did we experience? Because I think a lot of us do not have history on our side to be able to draw from. So let me just hold on. I think my mic is not connected. Can you guys hear me? Can everybody hear me okay? Just mic check real quick. Looks like my big mic is not connected. Hold on. Okay. I think my big mic.
Okay, how about now? Is this better? Yep, better. Thumbs up. Anybody feedback? Thumbs up. Is this better? I can't tell based on what I'm seeing. Yep. No. Okay. All right. So no one can comment. So I'm going to just keep going. But going back to what I was saying earlier was that having been a contractor and during the longest shutdown in history, thank you, Jackie. I have the privilege of having the experience of going through a shutdown as a contractor securing government contracts. And so part of what I want to share today is some of my experiences, and then also having interviewed 300 small businesses. I also want to talk about what other people have done and how they've been able to overcome it, because what I continue to hear from people that have historically done well, who did not evolve their business, who did not change strategies, I've seen them. Those are the ones that I find that are complaining, that are basically upset about things that are changing. But the people who have evolved their strategies, the ones who have learned basically essentially what the priorities are of the administration, and they've gone with those priorities to take their time and their efforts and their energy towards that, they are winning. And so I want to share with you what I'm seeing, what I'm talking to, because literally every day I meet with all types of small businesses. I'm talking to small businesses. I'm having lunch with different folks. And so I just have probably a bigger perspective than the majority of people that you're going to hear from, just because I just talk to so many folks on a day in and day out basis. Now, I'll be honest, my perspective may be a little bit skewed from the standpoint of I have a lot of people that come to me, the majority of them have a track record. They've, they know who I am, and they're coming to me to share with me effectively, their situation, which tends to be lean on the positive side. The people that don't know me well, that haven't actually gone through and formally learned procurement, those people tend to be on the more negative side. So that's just my experiences. So again, take it for what it's worth. I'm just here to share and have a conversation with folks out there. But again, I started on YouTube in 2017, the podcast 2018. So I've been through a couple of things. And then I went through COVID. How many people went through COVID? We remember COVID was all doom and gloom. We thought we would never come out of it, right? Everybody's sitting in their house and they're like, oh my gosh, the world's going to end. And then we survived COVID. So now we're here and we're going to survive this. But again, let me just share because we have not, many of you have not had a chance. You're new to my channel. You haven't seen a lot of my content. And so I want to share with you some content. And I actually did something for you. So I created this sheet. I'm going to just switch screens real quick. I'll put this on the screen. So I created this sheet that essentially goes over the 7 things I'm going to discuss today, but it also links to videos that you'll be able to have to pull from. So as I'm going through, I'm going to actually reference content and videos that I've made discussing these specific things. So you don't have to go searching for it. I'm going to put this in all the show notes as well. In fact, I will share a link to it here because a lot of this applies to today. But what happens is like a lot of things, right? We don't actually utilize the things that we don't need, right? So it's not until we actually need these things that we're like, oh, that's very helpful. That's very valuable. So I understand that because if you are in the camp of things are going up and up and up and going well, what would be the reason for you to go back and learn a tactic from 5-6 years ago? No need, right? So, but now, given that situations have changed, circumstances have changed, the environment has changed, you may need to go back and retool and relearn some of these things because they could be the difference between your survival and your growth. So for me, I spent a couple hours before coming on tonight and I said, let me just start grabbing some of this content from the past of things that I've shared with people that they didn't necessarily implement or execute on. And maybe now I'll help you guys streamline it, bring back up some of the old, right, to you so you can go back and take and apply these things now today, because believe it or not, history repeats itself. They say that rhymes. So again, none of this is the first time ever of these things happening. So what people did before, they may not work exactly the same way, but I mean, in theory, yes, the principles still hold the same. The concepts still hold the same if the application may be a little bit different. So I just want to let you know that I do have this sheet of all this content that I will be sharing with everybody. In fact, let me see if I can just make it available right now while we're here. Anyone with the link can view it. Okay, I'm just going to drop it in here real quick. But I will put this in the notes, so you don't have to worry about like saving it right down. I'll put it in the show notes so anybody can go through and apply any of these things and take it from there. All right. So we know 2018 is the largest shutdown on record. And so what we want to talk about is 7 ways that I think that you could take advantage of it. First and foremost, right? We discussed this before, but focus on contracts that are funded. So there are agencies that are still open and you could focus on bidding funded opportunities. So for example, they got mandatory spending programs with Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, the post office. And then you have agencies like FBI, CIA, TSA, Department of Veteran Affairs. So these groups are still funded. So again, I would say focus on organizations and agencies that are still funded as opportunities for growth, right? And so when we look at that, there's I'll show you. Hold on. Let me see if I still have it on the screen over here. So, you know, I pulled up like my NAICS code of 2025. Oh man. Oh, I reset my computer. I forgot. But I mean, I could do it again really quickly. But I pulled up, you know, just some historical data just to kind of show people, because again, I know what the news is telling you. So I pulled up. Where is it at? Okay, so I pulled up, for example, I'm just going to do Alabama real quick and do a search. But for example, Alabama in construction, I'll see what it comes back with. All right, so this year there was 11 agencies. Now, again, it's not everyone spending money, but 11 agencies, 100 vendors, $2 billion in construction in 2025. So, I mean, these are the agencies that spent it: Department of Justice, DOD, GSA, Federal Affairs, right? Interior, probably early the year before the shutdown, Homeland Security, NASA, And these are some of the beneficiaries: Brassville and Gorey, CCI. I know CCI, JCCB, Birmingham, Bates, Bear Brothers, Hensel Phelps, Beagle. So again, there are agencies that are funded that are still spending money. So I would personally, regardless of what I did for a living, I would focus now on the agencies that spent money. I know that might be hard to come across for a lot of people because you're like, well, I do X, Y, Z. Sure. But at this point in time, you got to work with the people who have the money, right? So again, like we mentioned before, in 2018, the Department of Defense, Labor, and Education were unaffected by the cuts. So they already had prior approvals prior to any of the funding being discontinued. They had a full year of appropriations. So again, they were less impacted by the shutdown. So I suspect a lot of it is the same this year. Okay. RFQs, no past performance. Again, may not be something that you typically do, but and these times where it's trying, you may want to look at changing your strategy, changing your approach. Hack number 2, calling award winners. Now, this one I love because so many people take this for granted. In fact, how many people have seen where now I've been posting like contract award wins in the different short formats just to let people know that things are happening every single day. So I've literally been posting wins from different small businesses, 3 or 4 of them every single day on our YouTube channel, showing you that people are winning contracts. But unfortunately, what happens is you get negative feedback. So I'll show you something which I found was interesting. So, people will say things, and this is what happened to a lot of small businesses. I'm going to pull this up, but I want to pull it up as an example. I don't want you to be this person, right? So I'm over here sharing with you publicly, like, hey, here are contracts that a small business won today. Here's another contract that another small business won, right? And then people are saying, I want to find this comment so I can show it to you. Hold on. See if I can pull it up. Okay, so here we go. So don't be this guy that says, more than likely, the contract winner already has numbers from someone else that bid with them. Okay, do not do that to yourself. Okay, do not do that to yourself. I'm telling you this. You are having your own self-limiting beliefs. Now, I'm going to show you this because here, hold on, I'll go back. Let me go back to my channel. But literally, we are all essentially, when you say that, when you've told yourself that, hey, somebody already has it, you've just said, I'm not even going to try. And this is the worst time to not try. Like this is not a time where you don't want to try stuff. Like personally, I think everyone should be trying everything. But for you to say that about yourself is a terrible, terrible thing to say, because the truth is, how many people, and again, so I'm going to go back to one of the, and by the way, I'll pull this up. This is in my list of contracts. So this was in 2018. And here, I'm just going to kind of fast forward to it. So I went online, I found this job that someone bid, okay, that they won this contract. And I literally, in this particular video, I picked up the phone and I called the guy on the phone and I talked to him about the contract. And I told him who I was. I told him what I did. And then basically I said, hey, you won this contract. I'm looking at it online. Congratulations. Can I help you? Give you some pricing on da, 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 da. And he's like, who are you again? I go, I'm from this company. This is what we do. And he said, okay, where are you located? And then I explained it to him. And then the next thing you know, he's like, yeah, okay, here's my email. Send me a price over. So don't be the guy that says, well, they probably already have somebody, so don't even try it. That is not the person you want to be. That is the person you want to run away from. Please, if you see this guy coming, run far away from him, because what does it hurt you to try? What does it hurt you to reach out to them and say, hey, I'm a da da da. I think that maybe the reason why is that like you're not desperate enough. I mean, if you are hungry and you really want to be successful, you really want to make money, you will do anything, you will do everything. So for me, like calling that guy is not a big deal. People call me all the time when I get work. Like, so here's an example. Jojo just said, I just want a contract for catering. And my friend said, how could you win a contract if the government is closed? I told her they emailed me and asked for a quote. Look, and we'll go into that, because they're not closed. Like the government is not closed. I'm trying to tell you this. The government is shut down. Shut down and close are two different things. So please remember this: shut down, close, not the same thing. The procurement is still open. They're still doing opportunities. I've been engaging with the SBA. They still have people in the offices. The SBA is still working regardless of what the website says. So I just want to say to people out here, right, try calling out to award winners. On our channel, we've had on our channel SAIC, BAE, and no one is even taking advantage of this stuff. Like, we've had all these people on our channel talking to you and sharing with you, hey, where they need help at. I mean, I just posted a video literally this week about SAIC and asking for help. Literally, I just posted it. And how many people actually said, hey, maybe I can help them? Right? I literally just, here it is. So literally, okay, Sean Kingsbury, the vice president of cybersecurity for SIC, says we need your AI skills. They're asking for solutions. He came on my show. He came on the podcast. We did a survey for people. We sent out a survey to people saying, can you provide solutions? We're, at our upcoming boot camp, we're bringing some more people from large companies that are looking for help. I was with KPMG the other day, one of those accounting firms, and they said they partnered with a small business recently on a contract. But what the small business brought was that they already had the relationships with the agency. They needed more capacity, and they brought that to the table. So literally, I'm telling you, because people are not doing these things, you will do the things and you will win, because everyone else has self-doubt and they're saying, nah, they don't need help. They don't need assistance. I'm telling you, you can win doing this. All right. Local and state contracts. Now, again, there are some things that I've talked about in the past, and we'll bring this up. I'm going to come back to this, and like I said, so Jackson Dalton started off selling to the prisons. Does anybody think the prisons are closed? Does anybody think like any of the correctional facilities are closed? Hell no. All these people that they're arresting, what about the people that they're pulling off the streets? He started his business selling to the prisons, and he didn't sell traditional things. He sold like he sold like boots and gear that the prison workers used in their day-to-day jobs. Now his business is booming, selling all kind of products, and it has resale agreements and licenses with some national firms. But he started off selling to the prisons, okay, and then he grew from there. John Bowen, okay, on John Bowen started off. He started doing state and local procurement contracts for what we call pool contracting. All right, the word pool, like the swimming pool, those types of contracts. In fact, let me show you guys. I pulled this up before, and a lot of people, let's see if I can get it. Okay, these contracts. So pre-qualified vendor pools, we talk about this. Does anybody know what a pre-qualified vendor pool contract is? All right, so I'll pull it up, Miami-Dade pool contracts. We call them pool like swimming pools. They're basically contracts. They're similar to IDIQs, long-term contracts. You basically qualify, you get on the contract, and now you're in a select group of people that only that group can bid on those projects. These are everywhere. I'll show you an example here. Let me just pull one up. I'm going to pull up the famous one because I always like this example. It's called emergency debris. Why? we know, and God rest, hopefully everybody is safe in Jamaica, but there was just a hurricane in Jamaica. So I always like to use emergency debris removal as my example contracts. So when you look at this pool contract, okay, then you can see here how many companies. Now, Miami-Dade, the city of millions of people between Miami-Dade and Broward, all right? And if you look at this particular contract, vendors, there's only about 11 companies on here. So whenever any type of tree removal or disaster happens, there's literally only 11 companies on this entire thing that are going to get called to go after these opportunities. This stuff exists everywhere. This stuff is just literally everywhere. All right. So again, but because we don't know, we're not sure, nobody's told us about it, we don't know how to look at that kind of stuff. Teaming, big thing, right? Interesting enough, and I'll go back to, does anybody remember when I did this video with Wesley, the 16-year-old? Okay, so Wesley, during COVID, started selling PPE to different state government, city government. During COVID, if anybody remembers, right, during COVID, it was similar to what it is now. Everybody was talking doom and gloom. I got my biggest contract ever during COVID time. During supposedly the worst time where the market was crashing, real estate was crashing, stocks were crashing, everything was crashing and burning, I got my largest contracts there. All right. So again, opportunities are everywhere. They're endless. It's funny on the teaming front. So let's talk about teaming. Like literally, so I just recently had lunch with someone that they're going to be on. By the way, I'm going to have them on next Monday. I've got some government ex contracting officers, ex program managers. Next Monday show, we're going to have the people come on and talk to you, because they literally said that the old strategy of, hey, I'm a small business, I'm a certified veteran business, I'm a WSB, that's out now, right? And so teaming is back in. Well, some of us never had to team before because it wasn't required of us, because we just won contracts. In this new era, right? How many people think, I'm gonna ask you a really simple question. How many people think that if they knew people inside of the current administration, Trump's administration, that they would have a higher chance of winning contracts? How many people think that if you actually knew people that were in Trump's team, that transition, that came over to DOD, Department of War, how many people think if you had those relationships with some of those people that you would have a higher probability of winning contracts? Does anybody think that? Or you think you'd have the same chance? Does anybody think that they'd have a higher chance of winning if you knew people that worked at Mar-a-Lago, if you knew people that worked at Trump Towers, if you knew people that ran the campaign, if you knew people that previously served in his last administration? Do you think that you would have a higher chance of getting contracts right now? You could be honest. Gloria's the only one said yes. Anybody else? No? Yes? No? Nobody has any thoughts. Everybody's like scared. Okay. I'm going to say hell yes. Not just yes. I'm going to say hell yes. Because those people, right? They're the ones that are now shaping the requirements. They're the ones that are making the decisions. They're the ones that are telling the people below what things to slide over, what buttons to push. Unfortunately, what happens is, what I've seen, and I said this to my friend, is that a lot of people that were not in that situation. And so because they're not in that situation, you feel like you're being ousted or outcast, because you're like, well, the people that and by the way, it's not sometimes who you know, it's all the time who you know. Okay. What I'm saying is, I'm not saying that you can't, obviously we're going to bid and, secure contracts that way. However, there are opportunities that are being let that are going to people that have inside access to leadership, decision makers. Okay, I'm going to ask a different question. Since you guys don't get, since you didn't understand that analogy, put a 1 in the chat if you've ever heard that government contracting is a relationship business. Put a 1 in the chat. If you've never heard of it, put a 2. If you've heard that government contracting is a relationship business, put a 1 in the chat. If you've never heard that quote before, okay, put a 2. Anybody heard that government contracting is a relationship business? Dvorsky, what's up, brother? Okay. So if you've heard that it's a relationship business, don't you think having relationships with the key people would make a difference? You see how we're not connecting the two theories. If you've heard that this is a relationship business, don't you think that having relationships with the key people that are decision makers would make a difference? Now I'm going to ask the question again. How many people think if they have relationships with the current administration's decision makers that it would make a difference, their outcome? Okay, I'm going to ask that same question again. Now that we've all agreed that we've heard it's a relationship business, when did you think that that stopped or changed? It never stopped. What happened is the people that you know had relationships before, right? They had the old relationships. They didn't pivot. They didn't prepare. They didn't expand to take on the new relationships with the new regime. And so that's why they're the ones that are out. And that's why these people are the ones that are in. But I'm going to say this. You can always start now starting those relationships. The relationship thing is never ending. So you have a clean slate. It's not as though they're not letting anybody in. It's not as though you don't have the opportunity to come in and make a name for yourself. I landed on the scene and I'm everywhere. I landed on the scene and I'm everywhere. Now, I'm going to tell you what my son said, and this is what his opinion. He said that it's really hard trying to do work in the day and then go network and stuff like that at night. It takes a special kind of person. So I'm going to say yes, it does take a special kind of person, because you're like, well, when am I supposed to network? I'm busy working. I get it. But what is your alternative? Okay, sit back and complain. I'm going to a Halloween party tomorrow at a mansion, and I know the people that invited me, the companies that they work with are all in the mid-tier range. Everybody's doing over $60 million. I don't know who's going to be there, but I know that the people that invited me, the owners are doing $60+ million. Their friends are doing $75 million. Their other friends are doing. So I already know I'm going to go there. I'm going to see people and I'm going to talk to people and I'm going to forge new relationships with people that are currently actively winning contracts. Everyone else, you guys are going to choose to go to a party to have fun, to go out and dress in costumes. I'm going to go to a networking event. It's a party, but it's a party specifically with procurement people that are in the business that do contracts. So I'm being more intentional about the places that I go, the things that I do. In fact, since I've been here, every single event I went to was a networking event. Whether I'm having lunch with somebody, dinner with somebody, going to I've been invited to galas. I've been invited to brunches, but they were all networking with people who were in this space. I literally haven't had one night out of just non-networking. And again, some people might say this is hustle and bustle. I talked to a lady today, said she left here because she was here 20 years and it's a hustle. But I'm not talking to the people that are going down. I'm talking to people that want to go up. And so, for me, it's interesting because I keep hearing a lot of self-doubt amongst the small business communities but they're not even trying any activities to even be doubtful about. Like how could he be doubtful about stuff that you haven't even tried? Like, I don't know. It's such a weird phenomenon. And I get it. We all have, like, our past experiences have taught us things. And so we go, no, that ain't going to work. Don't try this. Don't do that. Okay. Gloria probably asked the best question on her. How do we get those relationships? That's a great question. Why didn't nobody else think of that? Hey, Eric, how do we get invited to the parties? How do we get those relationships? How do we do that? Right? Well, one is, like Travis Mack says, be in the room. None of you are in the room. We create environments for people to be in a room and to be in spaces and no one's there. I'll give you an example. Okay. We've got some people in here that are on Federal Help Center. So I don't know how many people are here are in Federal Help Center, but in Federal Help Center, we invited some of our speakers to talk to our small business community. And we only had 3, 4, 5, 6 people show up. I bring a speaker that's doing $40 million a year in construction, and only 5 people showed up in the room. I bring somebody on here that's doing $10 million a year, and only a few people showed up. Tavin, are you on here? Am I lying? Am I flying? Tavin, who else? Where's my Federal Help Center people? Okay. Where's my Federal Help Center people at? We bring speakers on here, and you guys aren't even showing up. When was it? I mean, we've been doing this for a long time. Here, let me go back and find. Hold on. Okay. Let me go back and find it. Look, you see what Yvette said? Hold on, wait. You were telling the truth. Okay. So let's go back. You want me to pull it up? I mean, this is Federal Help Center. Let me go back into, let me see. Pro Member Hub. Let's go back to, not the chat. Let's go to past events. Okay. All right. So let's look. So here, September 26th, right here. September 26th, Defining Your Purpose with Frank Spencer, owner of Aztec Contractors. You see that? All right. My boy Cypher Intel, he works with a lot of the 3-letter agencies. Okay. Another multi-million-dollar contractor. All right. Hold on. Okay. Wes Edwards. This guy does $10 million a year in roofing contracts. 6 people went. Okay. So now, if you were one of the 6 people, by the way, and if you want to look up Aztec Contractors, you can go back and let's go to my channel and you can look up Frank Spencer. Right here. Okay. That's me interviewing him here 4 years ago. All right. But he's now doing 40 million a year. 40 million a year. He came on to speak to you, my group, to us, and no one showed up. And you say, well, what do you mean, Eric? What do you mean? What do I mean? So when people say, where are these people at? I'm bringing them to you. I'm putting them in front of you. I invite you to come meet the people. Tavin was at the conference. Yvette was at our conference. You said, how do we meet people? Hold on. Let me show you guys that. Y'all think, because y'all be around here messing around. Listen, take ownership. Take ownership for your own stuff. How do I know these people? I brought them here to meet everybody. This is our 2024 agenda, okay? Because people say, how do I meet these people? This is our 2024 agenda last November, all right? So now we're talking about non-traditional contracting. I had here Bobby Evangelista, the acting deputy chief digital and AI officer for acquisitions, Department of Defense, chief digital and artificial intelligence office. I had U.S. Central Command, Colonel Simon McKenzie, Director of Army Cyber Technology Innovation Center, Philip Alcorn, Arc Cyber, Frank Saunders, Program Director for National Science Foundation of Office of Advanced Cyber Infrastructure, Dr. Dan Massey. That's all cyber IT stuff. Then I brought in, okay, hold on, Jackie Robinson from the SBA, Donna Bennett from Department of State, all right, Cesar Nazar from X Corp, Vanna Ortiz from the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, Natalie Overland from NASA, Anita Perkins from NSF, Miss Elise Bullock from Secretary of the Navy, Ben Amaba, IBM. Okay. Then I brought an Encore Funding. Joel did over $1 billion in funding. Okay. Susan Mitchell, Guardians of Honor. Y'all don't even know who Susan Mitchell is. Susan's my girl. Susan is my girl. Do y'all know Susan? Do y'all know Susan? Bro, y'all know who Susan is? You said, how do you build a relationship? Susan is like, me and Susan like this. I'm going to go ahead and brag a little bit, okay? I'm going to show y'all who Susan is. I'm going to show y'all who Susan is now. Okay, this is Susan. I'm about to zoom in. I want y'all to see this. Susan came. By the way, she did this to give back to you guys. She doesn't need money, all right? So Susan, all right, let me show you who Susan is. You see this? Guardians of Honor, right? I'm going to go ahead and just type it in for y'all. Susan Mitchell, Guardians of Honor. Okay, let's see. Where is it at? I'm going to type in one more word, NASA. Okay, hold on. Let's see if it shows it. All right, Guardians of Honor has been awarded the NASA Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics Services contract. They'll deliver an enterprise-wide range of STEM engagement, including internships, fellowships, awards, and grant support for STEM K through 12 programs. We're excited to help NASA. I'm going to zoom in so y'all can read this. I just want y'all to just kind of read the value of the contract. And then I'm going to let y'all sit on that. I'm going to let y'all sit on that, okay? Y'all see that? Anybody could have had lunch with her, talked with her, got her cell phone number, spent time with her if you just showed up. Anybody see that number? When you see it, just let me know. Just put a sad face, put a cry face. I don't, just, however you want to react. Okay. Susan, Stacy Martineau, Stacy's company, her accounting firm. Okay. Dean Associates. They are helping people sell, exit the government contracting space. Literally, Stacy is helping people exit the space. Like, people talk about buying business, all this kind of stuff. If you are, and we'll talk more about strategy, but if you are literally looking at saying, hey, I talked to you about this. Working with service providers gets you access. What does that mean? Accountants, lawyers, they all know people in the business. So if you have those relationships with them, you say, how do you do it? So guess what? Why do you think I have so many lawyers on this show? Anybody have any idea how many lawyers I've interviewed on my podcast? I guarantee you there's nobody else in this space. GovCon gurus have interviewed more law firms than me. Lawyers know where everything's at. They know who got contracts, who don't have contracts, who wants to sell their business, who's going up, who's going down. They know who's in trouble. They have access to info. And guess what? Whenever I need help, I'd be like, hey, what's this about? Hey, what's going on over here? I could call them. I can email them. They're on it. Same thing with accounting firms. My girl, Stacy, They have helped people sell their companies. They've helped people go public. They've helped people get acquired. So all the information is there. We do not utilize it. We don't even know. We're looking at what they say, looking a gift horse in the mouth. We are literally looking gift horses in the mouth and saying, well, Eric, how do you know all these people? How do you feel? How do you connect with all these? How do you know all that? Why when you land in DC, everybody knows you? Because hello, I'm spending time with all these people. All right. So when we go back and you start asking me those questions, right? Okay, Megan Lehman, partner of Polera Marza. Megan's been on my show 3 or 4 times. Chris Turley, government contract lending, BCT. All right. We had General Dynamics at our conference. The director of government affairs for General Dynamics spoke, and none of you talked to her. All right. And then I'm just going to skip through because I don't want to harp on this too much. But I mean, Donna Bennett, we had Chief Information Officer, Department of State, Darlene Irvin, Director of Policy Oversight, Acquisition Policy. We had Sean Kingsbury, Tracy from MITRE Group. And then we'll get into, we had some of the tribes. We had SESs from Health and Human Services, Homeland Security. We had Director of Government Contracting, SBA. And then we get into, these are the agencies that came. All right. And these are the prime contractors that came. So how can I not be connected with these kind of people? And then I brought them to all of you and I put them in your lap, served them and said, hey. And so then you're like, well, how do you do it? Hello, this is how. You got to get out of your bed, get out of your house, get in your car, get on a plane, get on a bus, get on a train, and go somewhere. You're not going to do it sitting in the house just watching TikTok or watching Instagram Reels or whatever you watch. You got to get out of the house and talk to people. I'm literally going to meet someone tomorrow for breakfast. I'm meeting somebody tomorrow for lunch. I had lunch with someone today or yesterday. So I say that because people say, how do we start teaming with people? Well, this is how. Because there's people out here that need opportunities. I got another one for you. I brought this to everybody in the group. So, and we're going to talk about this when we get, I'll wait till we get to that part. So again, I literally just had a contract someone this week. So GSA schedules, we all know, we've heard that the government's going and spending money with GSA schedule. Duh. They already said that. Like, you have to be blind to not hear or see. I'm sorry, deaf to not hear, blind to not see that the government says we're going to spend money at GSA schedule. Okay, Eric, I don't have a GSA schedule. That's fine. I have said this in the past, and I brought my friends on here before. I have friends that have GSA schedules that they're not using. So when we look at going back, talking about teaming, there's people that have GSA schedules that they're not using that, again, if you're hungry enough and you like, man, listen, I will put that baby to work. You can connect with those people that are on the vehicles that are not utilizing them because they're busy somewhere else. This happens all around the space. When we go back to teaming, I had lunch last week with some gentlemen, and the reason why we were at lunch was because he had opportunities that they were not pursuing because they were too busy. So literally, we were saying, or the people that I was with were saying, hey, can we be there to get some of those opportunities that you don't want because you're too busy? So there's people out here that are really, really busy. I've come on here before and I told you my friend's company said he couldn't take any more projects. And he turned down a $20 million project with Florida Power and Light because he was too busy. No one said, Eric, how do I get that project? No one said that. No one even asked me. Everyone just goes, oh, wow, that's really cool. Oh, that's nice. Oh, that's great. So look what this guy said, Chris Fernando. You are correct. I just won my first contract during the shutdown, a GSA contract. So again, we sitting back, having a pity party for ourselves, we sitting back and complaining, or looking at the news and saying that nothing is happening, there's no movement. This is what they want. They want you to have the self-defeating mentality, to throw in the towel, to give up so they don't have to beat you. No one has to beat you that way. No one has to beat you. I'm telling you. So again, I can literally name, I had a friend of mine that said to me, and I think, Tavin, do you remember this? I brought him to the group. He says, I have GSA schedule. I'm too busy with my other work to use it, but I'm on all these different schedules. Eric, if you know somebody wants to use it, feel free to use it. And I gave his information out to everybody. Do you remember that, Tavin? I gave his information out. I had a friend of mine that said he has a subcontractor that he's subbing to, service disabled veteran, and he wanted somebody else that could come in and take over that position and take over that role. But again, people are not ready. You're not like, I don't know what to tell you, you know? So again, we're talking about GSA schedule, we're talking about being available. We've had on our channel several people that spoke about GSA. Here, I'm gonna pull up. So here, all right. So we came on, we discussed GSA from Emily Murphy. Emily Murphy ran GSA. She ran the programs. Ran the whole programs. Okay. How many of you reached out to me to connect with Emily Murphy? Anybody in this call? GSA is taking over the majority of government contracts. Hold on, I'm going to show you again. You know I like to show you, but I can tell you. Hold on, I'm going to show you. I like to show people. I'm going to show you guys. Hold on. I'm going to show you. Emily Murphy, American attorney and former administrator for GSA. Emily Murphy. So I bring you guys on the former administrator for GSA services. Okay. No one asked me to reach out to her. like no one said, hey, Eric, I'm curious in GSA. No one asked me to reach out to her. It's cool. That's cool. I just, again, I'm not telling people what to do. I'm telling you where the opportunities exist in the midst of this mayhem, and how I want you to leave here tonight and blame yourself for not doing any one of these things that we're talking about. Not because it wasn't presented to you and put in front of you, because maybe you just didn't see it. Maybe you didn't connect the dots. So maybe I'm here to help you connect some of these dots. I don't know. I mean, that's really what I'm here to talk about tonight. So again, GSA schedule. All right. Sources sought. People still are not doing sources sought. Why do I bring this up? Eric, why do you keep talking about sources sought? Why are you talking about sources sought? Because the guy that I had lunch with yesterday just got another sole source contract with a government agency. I'm not going to say the name, for 2 full-time positions. Okay. From a sources sought that he filled out. I literally, the guy that I had lunch with yesterday, he was telling me, he goes, Eric, I see the content that you put out on LinkedIn, and that's exactly what I do. And my last 10 contracts, 8 of them were sole source. 8 of them. Eight of his last 10 were sole source. He's working right now at one of the big agencies here down in DC. I'll tell you, he's working at the Pentagon. I'll go ahead and drop it. He's got people at the Pentagon now working. Why can't we do these things? Why are we sitting back and not creating our own opportunities, like Tavin said? We can create our own success. We control our own destiny. No one else controls our destiny. We control our own destiny. No one controls our destiny but us. All right. I'm telling you this. I'm telling you because I see it time and time again with people. They make excuses. And now, for example, and Gloria's nice. She says it feels like they're only going to big primes right now. That's because that's all you see. This is why I'm putting out content that shows all these small businesses that are winning contracts every day. But we don't like to look at that content because it's not exciting for us. We like the big numbers. We like the flashy numbers. That's more exciting. But when I show you the contract that this veteran company won, you guys don't care. I'm telling you, I know how you are. You honestly don't care. Like when I show you content that these veterans won, no one cares. No one cares. I'll show you. Here's a video right now. I'll show you. Hey, I got proof. I got proof. Hold on. Take this down. Put this up. Here. Here's the contract. Here's something right here. Okay. Veteran-owned service disabled business just won a contract out of Oregon. $215,000 with the VA administration, National Cemetery Association administration. They're placing a trailer and a rental piece of equipment there. All right. Again, nobody watches that. When I go back here, let's go back and we talk about funded agencies. All right. When we go back and we look at funded agencies, you see on this list, Department of Veteran Affairs programs continue with existing funding. I'm showing you. I'm showing you. I told you here, these agencies are fully funded. They were funded under the last shutdown. They're funded this shutdown. I'm showing you they're funded. I'm showing you contracts that people are winning now, like today, from veterans, from administration. What more proof or evidence base do you need? Everything that I'm doing, you can look up and verify and fact check it. You don't have to believe me. You can fact check and verify everything. Okay. So we talked about funded agencies. We showed you that, local state contracts again, and then consulting. So consulting is still an option for a lot of people out here. And I personally still think consulting is the best option. I just met with a company last week. We're doing a consulting agreement where I'm going to be bringing people and connections and relationships that can generate deals. And then I'm going to get a piece of the pie. I've also presented this to you guys. I presented it to everybody here. I gave you the opportunity to work with companies that have past performance and experience if you had opportunities to bring to the table. Consulting, zero risk. You could find opportunities, you could find a list with agencies, and you can put it in hands of people who already have past performance, experience, capital, credit, facility, all that stuff, and just get yourself a fee. Perfectly legal. You don't have to risk anything. Just spend some of your time. I think it's a great way to start. This is the way I've started. I still work as a consultant till this day. In fact, I started my journey as a consultant. Then I became a contractor. Then I went back to becoming a consultant. And it literally, it allows me to be able to do this kind of stuff that I'm doing for you. So, for me, that option it still exists. I think a lot of people, even if you were a company before a contractor, that if you said, hey, look, my contracts have dried up, the market has dried up, but I still have some relationships at these different groups, agencies. I still know some people, but they don't buy what I sell. Like, so if you were selling, Gloria seems to be very active in the chat. If you're selling translation services, well, that group doesn't buy translation services, then essentially you can help connect them. So that's one way where you could be a consultant, right? Your hands off, you're not touching the contract. All you're doing is connecting people together, right? Someone who has an opportunity, someone who has the experience, and then you're connecting the people together. Again, when they talk about wealthy people, right? Do you realize how many streams of income do wealthy people have? Right? How many streams of income do wealthy people have? Let's put it in Chat GPT and let's see what chat says. All right. We somehow limit ourselves to 1 or 2 pieces of income. How many? Okay. Boom. Gloria was right. 7 streams of income. 7. Earned income, profit income, interest income, dividend income, rental income, capital gains income, royalty, license income. I have 6 of those 7. Actually, no, I have 7. I have earned income. I take profits from the business. So if you think about consulting like royalty or licensing income, in a sense, maybe that's an easier way for you to grasp it, right? So if you think about royalty or licensing income, it says from intellectual property, right? So basically, if you were to take and look at my relationship with this particular office or this person or this entity as your intellectual property, as some sort of, something that you hold close to you, then you could turn that into a cash cow. And that's what I did. That's what I did. And by the way, I'm still signing more of those agreements today. I'm meeting with some people Monday to sign some additional agreements so I can expand that pot of income that I get from that, basically licensing out my relationships. This is what I started with teaching everybody. I know Tavin knows this. I start out teaching everybody to be a consultant. Like, I still believe being a consultant is numero uno way to break into this market, because you don't risk your money. You don't risk your credit. You learn kind of on the job, and you get to essentially get paid to learn. And you get to essentially do, for me, which is the best part of the job, which is just talking to people and networking. And some people don't like that. In fact, most business owners do not really like networking. So they don't like going out, like you said. They don't want to go out and work all day and then go out in the evening and network. So I do that for them. And in exchange, they pay me for networking for them and connect them to deals, because all they want is increase in revenue. Look at that. Gloria, look what this person wrote. An interpreter opportunity came across my desk last week, but I couldn't find you on LinkedIn or Eric's Federal Help Center platform. What's the best way to reach you? Why are you guys not on Federal Help Center? That is the first problem. It costs you more money to be off of here than it costs you to be on here. I just gave you 4 reasons why you should be on here. Like, I don't understand. Why would you not be here in Federal Help Center? that is hilarious that she said, I just gave you an opportunity, but I couldn't find information. So Gloria, you did the right thing. You've been active in the chats. You've been active on our streams, but then people don't know how to reach you. You don't. So again, this is, people say, how do you create your own success? This is it. Someone said, how do you start with consulting? We teach consulting, right? We talk about consulting in a lot of our trainings. I mean, that's the first things that we talk about with people are when you're getting started, determine whether you want to be a prime, a sub, or a consultant, right? What should you be doing? Okay. And then we go into specifically on consultant, how to become a consultant. What does that look like? So, I mean, that is the playbook that I've been saying a long time, is that we should be focusing on being a consultant. And this time frame, it might be a lot easier for a lot of us to be a consultant than try to go out and get contracts and try to build relationships when maybe, you know what I've seen, and we're going to open up for questions. I've seen a lot of people that literally they have a problem with other people, meaning that, you know, their personality will not allow them to suck up their emotional feelings to go and try to befriend someone who is not like them. And I see that's where I see a lot of our challenges are, is that we believe that we can't go befriend someone that has a different cultural background than we have. And that's where I see a lot of people have a lot of gripe at, is that they walk into a room and they don't feel comfortable in that space. And I understand that. I don't knock it, but I just see that like a lot of people have that challenge. So for those of you who came late, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to drop this. So this is the 7 things that I talked about tonight. But what I did was I put specific videos in here for people to watch, to go over any one of these things that they want to go over. So then I won't force you to go through my entire YouTube list. I'm trying to make it easy for people, and you could go through and watch any of the videos that are related to any of the strategies today. So it's just strange to me because all the things that I mentioned, the people that I know that I talk to are still winning utilizing any one of these. Not all of them. Most people are using 1 or 2. And they're still winning utilizing these strategies. So I'm going to open up for questions. I dropped it in the chat. I'm going to put it in the link for the people that are watching later. And, you know, like I said, I think that people asked me before, how do you start building these relationships? Be in the room. How do you get a list of speakers for 2026? So we have not put together the list of speakers for 2026 yet. However, what I am doing, okay, I told you guys before, I'll remind you, we are having a live mastermind in DC coming up November 15th and the 16th. We're also doing a boot camp on November the 7th, and I'm going to be bringing some of those people to my live mastermind. So I've already had 3 or 4 of those big speakers confirmed. I can't tell you which organization it's from right now, but if you just go to our website, GovCon Giants, you'll see on there the mastermind that's coming up the 15th and 16th. And then also we have the boot camp that's happening on the 7th, and it'll be 6 weeks. And so again, I'm going to be bringing my people in here. I hope that everybody shows up because I'm going to be bringing the people, as I always do. But again, people are afraid. But here's the boot camp. Right? That's much more affordable for people, much more palatable. The mastermind is a little bit costly. So, but I mean, it's not meant to be for everybody to be there, because the kind of people that I want, that I'm bringing in a room, I need people to value and respect their time. So that's the boot camp information. And whoever it was, that person that says they want to come to DC, you know, here's the mastermind information. So questions. And this is where it's going to take place. This is where our live mastermind is going to take place. here at Officina and the rooftop. So we'll be at Officina and the rooftop. We will not be outside because it's going to be cold, but we'll have the views. So, all right. I'm not doing LinkedIn tonight, Gloria. So questions, comments, concerns. What do you guys got for me? I hope that I set the record straight and let people know what's going on, Chris Fernando, my man. Congratulations, brother. I hope I set the record straight and let people know that, hey, stuff is popping. I'm telling you, things is happening. Listen, it's interesting. I remember first when they talked about like the housing prices going down. These prices ain't went down over here in DC. None of these housing prices went down in DC. I don't know what y'all talking about in Virginia. These prices are not down. Look, I'll show you where I live. These people, there is nothing pricing down around here. Okay, I'm telling you, as a person that came from Florida, they talk about prices went down. Yeah, right. Ain't no prices down right here. Come on, Zillow. They trying to sell me a loan, all kind of stuff. Hold on. I'm going to show you guys. I can show you better than I can tell you. Drop your questions in here. Whatever questions you have, drop them in here. Hold on. Hey, no problem, Chris. Hey, man. Okay. So y'all tell me, this 2-1 house for $875,000. Does that seem like the price went down to y'all? A 2-bedroom, 1-bath house for $875,000. Look at this thing. Does that look like prices went down? Huh? 1,100 square feet house, $734,000. What prices went down? Okay, these are townhomes for $700,000. Okay, 2,200 square feet, 1.1 million. What prices went down? A 2-bedroom, 1-bath condo, $389,000. Just saying. Just saying. People still got $1 million townhouses. So, all right. T Green says, can we watch the old videos? What do you mean? What old videos where? I don't understand the question. Tavin says, what time is the boot camp start next Friday? Tavin, probably the same time that they always are. I think 5 or 6, in the evening time. So yeah, for everyone asking, the boot camps are typically Fridays, and we run 2 hours in the evening, like 6 to 8 or 5 to 7. So, and they'll be going for the next 6 weeks. So yeah, we work with Chris Fernando and actually helping him to put that contract. I mean, Chris was a great person that came to us. And Chris, I want you to come tell your story one day about your previous experiences before you met us. That'd be a good story. How often do I tap back into GSA officers that you've dealt with? So I personally don't tap into GSA officers because I've never done GSA. So I don't. GSA officers is a very specific question. However, how often do I tap back into people I work with? All the time. So people who I've worked with, I tap back with them all the time because that's part of us maintaining the relationship. So for example, the last 4 IDIQ sole sources, the guy that gave it to us, he's relocating. However, because we're still connected, the next facility he's going to go to and manage, then we're going to have opportunities to get to contracts there as well. So I keep those relationships fresh, because what I've learned and what I've seen being here in this area is that some people have had relationships for 15 years, and then so they move jobs, and that's how you start getting sole source contracts. So like for me, our first IDIQ sole source from my consultant client came because the lady moved to a higher position. She was like second in command at this one facility. She remembers me keep calling her, messaging her, hey, let's get a meeting. She then relocated to another facility over in Rhode Island. She was now the head contract officer. And she remembered me from calling her when she was at Groton, Connecticut base. And she's like, Eric, you never got a meeting with them? I said, no. She says, well, you can come meet with me now. And she ultimately was the one that gave me my first sole source IDIQ for my consultant client in Rhode Island. So what's interesting, so you said, well, come and be at the event. I'll be interested in STVOSB partnership. So I don't even know what that means, because I don't know what you do. So I can't say that no one is interested in a partnership with anyone because of a certification. So I'm going to say no is the answer, because no one cares that you have the certification before they know what you do. So that answer is no. There will not be anybody at the event that's interested in someone that says, hey, I got my SDVOSB. No one at the event will care. The interviews talk about people missing. For anyone who's new, didn't get a chance to see them. So I just put in the chat a lot of the different interviews that are related to today's topic, the 7 items that I discussed. But I mean, everything's on my YouTube channel. So everything's on our YouTube channel, and it's there for you to watch. I just pulled in some examples related to the stuff I was discussing. So, all right. What else? Gloria, you can always find a vet inside a Federal Help Center. She basically runs Federal Help Center. Okay. Anybody else? We good? All right. Well, listen, I hope it's funny because now I literally could come on every other day and have stories to tell you. I can't wait for tomorrow's event to see what comes out of that. And then next week I'll come back and I'll share it. But yeah, bringing some people on to talk about, what they're seeing out here as well. I'm going to bring some more guest speakers on. But the truth is, right, like they're not going to, you got to get to know them, right? And so what I found is being in the same room, there's nothing that replaces in life, in-person contact. Nothing replaces that. Nothing. Now, earlier today, when I was talking about on some of those Zoom call sessions where people didn't show up, 5 or 6 people, I'm going to put the guy there with you, but it's your job. If I put you in a room with Frank Spencer, right? So I put you in a room with Frank. Frank's doing 40 mil. And I mean, he's going to say, Eric, what do you think about this person? I'm going to say, nope, they're a good person. They're inside our community, blah, 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 blah. Cool. It's going to be your job to follow up with Frank's team or Andre's team to take that relationship to the next place. So I'm going to put you in here with him. I'm going to vouch for you. Okay. But you then it's your job to then take that relationship to the next level. Like you have to follow up, email him, go out there and visit him or see them, right? Go out there, meet their team, or ask him what event he's going to be at there. You guys can meet in person. That's your responsibility. And that's what I do. When I came here, probably 7 or 8 of the lunches, I set them up. I was pre-gaming before I got here. I said, hey, I'm moving to Virginia in a couple months. Would you mind, if when I get there, can I reach out to you to have lunch? Yeah, Eric, sure. Okay, cool. So I'm already planting the seed before I came here with a lot of people. Hey, I'm moving to DC area. I'm not sure yet. But when I get up there, you think we could get together and have lunch and just catch up, maybe have coffee or something? Sure, Eric, no problem. So I was already pre-gaming before I got here. So that's how I kind of like flew right into everything. And then I was telling people I'm moving to DC. I'm moving to DC. I start posting on LinkedIn. I'm moving to Virginia. Please invite me to the event. Anybody see my LinkedIn where I said that? Like, hey, I'm moving to Virginia. I'm moving to DC. When I get there, please invite me to the event. Let me know. In fact, hold on, wait. I'm going to show you. I'll show you because I like to prove things. I'm going to show you this. And I'm going to show you somebody else you guys missed out on. Oh, look at this. By the way, this is one of the guys that was a speaker at our conference, Jay Moran. Okay. So he was a speaker at our conference as well. He's the one that brought General Dynamics. But let me go here. So you said, how do you get invited to events? Right? That's what you guys said. You asked me that. I'm going to show you what I do. Gloria, I think that was you asking me that question. Okay. All right. So again, here's some of my guys. Oh, man. Okay. See if I can open it up bigger for everybody. All right. So here's all right, here we go. All right. So I went to this event here. All right. Colossal company, right? If you guys look up Colossal, this is Anthony. This is his company. I tag Anthony. I went to his event, Colossal. If you look up Colossal LLC here, Colossal LLC. All right. Let's see. I mean, here, anybody, by the way, anybody could do this. You can go to USA Spending, you look them up. Okay. Let's see if they have any numbers here on them here. Didn't show anything. That was just one contract. Let's see. Let me just do this. Okay. All right. Anybody see that number? Y'all see that number before it went off? Okay. See that? Date since inception, dollars obligated. See that? See the revenue numbers? Okay. So again, what do? They had a charity event. Eric Coffie shows up. Go to the charity event. I go with my guys. I join a challenge. I do the push-up challenge. Okay. With everybody. Then I tag Colossal. I tag the owner, one of the owners. Tag my guys. And then again, you guys can see it. You know, hey, thank you. Welcome back to DMV. Right? From the Anthony, the owner. And I said, very happy to be here. Please invite me to everything. You see that? See what I wrote, Gloria? Y'all see what I wrote? Jojo, do you see what I wrote? Tavin, do you see what I wrote? Please invite me to everything. Does anybody see that? Oh. Okay. So how does Eric get invited to events? I tell people, invite me to events. You guys are shy. Y'all just shy, man. I'm like, yo, I wrote publicly on the page, invite me to everything. So that's how I get invited. That's how I get invited. Because I tell people I want to participate and like, oh, you want to do stuff? I'm like, yeah. Like, oh, here's something to do. Here's something to do. Here's something. Here's something. Here's something. And all of a sudden I'm in the room, 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 in the room. Can y'all do that? Put a 1 in the chat if you can do that. If you can do that, put a 1 in the chat. If you can do it. I know that we can, we just don't. And that's the problem that I want to leave everybody today, is that you can, you don't. And I hope that over this last hour and change, I've been able to show you that, you know, this is the difference. This is literally the game changer that you need to have. Okay. This is the game changer that everyone needs to have. If you're in a room with someone who's been obligated $1.6 billion in contracts, you're at their event, you're hanging out with the people, you're supporting their charities, you are talking on behalf. And by the way, I didn't even talk about my business. They talked for me because they know what I do, because I'm always advocating for myself publicly on LinkedIn. I'm not shy. I'm not shy about advocating myself. You guys are shy about advocating for yourself and what you do. I know it because I don't see you enough. Y'all scared. Y'all scared to tell people what you do. You're scared to advocate for yourself. That means you don't even believe in yourself. How am I going to believe in you? You don't believe in yourself. Y'all are afraid to tell people what you do because you don't believe in yourself. That's the truth. Otherwise, you'd be screaming it to the top of the thing. Man, I do this, I do this, I do this, I do this. And watch how many people show up to help you out. I'm just not afraid. I don't, you know, I go in these rooms. These people don't scare me. People don't bother me, you know? And these are regular people. I did an event with these guys 2 years ago. I'm going to do an event this year with these guys. You know, if I ask them to come out and speak, they'll come out and speak for me on my behalf out of their generosity. They don't want anything from me. Last year, when we did an event, they actually sponsored the bar. When I did my event in DC, no, it was 2 years ago, I did an event in Virginia and they sponsored the bar. They picked the entire bar tab for me, the whole tab. Generosity, man. Generosity. People are a lot more generous than you believe, than you think. Maybe the people that you're around, you're in the wrong circles. Come and be a part of our circles. Just come. And the guy that keeps putting LinkedIn user, how am I supposed to know who you are? Your name is LinkedIn user. No one has any way to verify you, to look you up. You could be a bot. So no one's going to email you or call someone that says LinkedIn user next to their name. It's not going to happen. So, all right, listen, I'm getting out of here. I done ran my mouth long enough. I hope you guys got some value out of this. I hope that, again, I can show you insight into kind of what I'm doing, how I'm doing it. I want to be a living testimony. So I'm showing you my circles. I'm connecting the dots. I show you the people on LinkedIn. Then I show you the stuff on chat. Then I show you the people on the websites. Then I show you the administrators. Then I show you the people that own the companies. Then I show you me with the people that own the companies. Then I show you the people on my podcast. That's what I do. You know, I thank you, JoJo. Ask and you shall receive. I showed you Susan Mitchell. I showed you all the people that came to the conference. I showed you all the agents that came to my conference. I told you we had the Department of Defense AI agency at our conference before ChatGPT won their AI contract. We had the Department of Defense. Do y'all understand how big that is? Having the acting deputy chief digital AI officer for acquisitions. Do you guys even comprehend the acting deputy chief digital officer, AI officer for acquisitions for the Department of Defense Digital and Artificial Intelligence Agency office? We had him at the conference for you guys and no one showed up. We had him. We had the program director for cyber infrastructure. And you guys weren't in the room. Central Command. Do you guys even know? Do you guys know who this is? Like, do y'all know Central Command? Central Command fights all of our wars overseas. Look, they're conducting raids overseas. Like, I mean, look where the coalition nations are. Albania, Armenia, Australia, Belgium, Korea, Kuwait. Like, I brought the person here that's over this group to our event to talk to you about buying from you guys, innovation, cyber, tech. I brought the person over the National Science Foundation Office of Advanced Cyber Infrastructure. I brought him there for you. And y'all didn't show up. Look, program director, National Science Foundation Office of Advanced Cyber. Like, you said you want to meet these people. And you didn't show up. The next ones coming up, Gloria, are the ones I put in the chat, correct? So, all right. But I still love y'all. I'm gonna have to beat y'all up a little bit more, but just, I'm gonna stay consistent with my theme of continuing to do what I believe is necessary work. So I got to fight all the fake people out here, the pretenders, the other, gurus that I don't see my events and stuff like that. So, but I'll keep pouring into y'all. Hopefully some people will get it and the other people just fall off. That's no big deal. See ya.